Hey Lars, it's Joe. Hope you're doing well. Someone forwarded the thing to me, so I talked about Vulcan for a minute. Hopefully, I won't ramble on too much. You might hear video games in the background. My downstairs neighbor got a video game because we're all stuck inside, so good for them. Um, okay, I started working at Vulcan in 2001, and I left in 2010. I'd worked at video stores, like shitty franchise blockbustery movie gallery things forever in Alabama. And I remember when I came to Austin to go to college, my dad and I stopped by Vulcan because I wanted to go in. I think my dad maybe found it to the South Congress one. And I was just like, what the fuck is this? How does this exist? Because in Birmingham, there was a place called the Bad Seed that just like, it didn't really last very long. And its selection was cool, but it's more like they'd have Evil Dead too, and that was the rare thing they had, not have everything that Vulcan had. And I was just kind of awestruck by it. And it was like a movie nerd paradise. You can go and there's just, they have everything. And so when I got hired, I had got mono right away and I couldn't go to work for 2 weeks. And so I think they were about to hire someone to replace me, which probably is illegal, but that's fine. And then no one would talk to me for the first few weeks because they thought I was going to give them mono. But otherwise, the people who worked there were, I mean, I got to work with Lance Hahn, which was a real thrill. And I'd seen Jay Church play when I was in high school at some point when I went to Atlanta. And it was a real, like, to be like 19 and hanging out with someone like that who ended up just being like a super nice, regular, kind person. And it was the ongoing thing where if you worked a shift with Lance, you would then have to, someone would have to drive him home. And so I think for some of us younger folk, that was the thing we would act like we didn't want to do, but desperately wanted to. And so I drove him home a bunch and would chat and we became good friends. And that's all because of Vulcan. And the other coworkers, you just can't, there's no reason to work there if you want to pay your rent, because video stores just inherently can't pay a ton. And so you kind of just have to be, like passionate about the place and what it is and what it represents, at least to some degree. Also, you have to be into getting free food and free movies. But you have to care about it, which was really kind of awesome. The Saturday nights were my big shift forever. I got hired to work starting Saturday nights, and it was we would work until like 11, and then we would just go sit out front. Often we were nerds, and we would just be like still doing work stuff and projects we were working on for the store. But we'd have bought at least a 24-pack of Lone Star and a shit ton of cigarettes, and would just chain smoke and drink all the beer in the world. And then until who knows what customer would drive up, someone would go inside and help the customer. Two other people would just hang out. Other people would just show up and start hanging out. We would run out of beer eventually, always. And I feel like would have to find another 24-pack that was warm, or a 12-pack or some loose beers in someone's trunk and drink those, which was gross. And there are days we would stay there until like 7 in the morning. People would be coming, drop off movies in the morning. We would just be still sitting out front, smoking cigarettes, just drinking beer, talking about movies, talking about stuff, making dumb jokes. It was the best. Sundays were hell because you'd go home and go to sleep at 10 a.m. and feel like shit the rest of the day. But Saturday nights were just, I did it for 8 years. I don't know, a long freaking time. I stayed up forever. Just doing stuff at the store. The whole renting movies thing, which is hard to find these days, which is a bummer, because the internet just can't replicate it. I specifically remember I would like work shifts and stuff, and then after shifts or at some point I would like turn into customer mode, and I would go and I would figure out what I was going to watch. I think Kristen Ellisor got me into taking home big stacks of stuff versus taking home just a couple movies at a time. Kind of plan your week a little more. And I would go and she would wander around with me sometimes, and I would find stuff to watch. And it's weird to be I was at the store all day, all the time. And it was fun to switch into that mode because you got to really walk around and see the place for what it was, which is it just is this like lovely place to wander around and find strange and funny things to watch. The One of my favorite things that I got to do there that I don't get to do anymore, besides get free everything, which was the best thing. It was, I don't know, we should have probably stopped the trading years before because I think they get like half bankrupt the place from the start, but when I quit and moved to New York, I had to start paying for things and it was fucking hell. I forgot how to pay for things. I expected to walk into bars and just get free drinks, and it was great. I miss that. I have friends who live in Austin still. They're just like, why would you ever have left? And I'm like, I don't know sometimes. But my favorite thing was when someone would come in and they would often be a customer, because you would end up, the same people would come in every Saturday night or every Wednesday night, and you would get to know them. And it was they're kids, what they rent, what they like. But they would come in, they would be like, hey, there's a movie, came out in the 80s, maybe it's in South America, maybe it has a dinosaur in it or something. And you would have to either like puzzle your own brain to figure out what the hell they were talking about, or put in weird IMDb search terms to try to find it. And the like dream was that you find the thing, which often would be what would happen. And then you're like, oh, it's also in the science fiction section or somewhere. And they would be like, what? And it was super exciting. And just in general, the atmosphere of the place. I mean, for me, coming from besides my dad, I didn't really have anybody to talk to about the artier side of movies or even the trashier side of movies, really, growing up. And so coming into Vulcan and not even just being able to rent there, but being able to work there, you just find your peoples and you find people you can really like relate to and talk to about the weird shit you're into, which is a super important thing. And I think that was on the customer side as well, because we would have customers that just would hang out for way too long. Sometimes it was really annoying. And they would leave because they wanted to hang out and talk. Or they would just rent the movie we put on every time, which is very annoying because it's probably the only copy we had. And we were really excited about watching whatever we were going to watch. Okay, this is probably too long. It's the best place. I'm heartbroken. It's closed. The customers were awesome. I talk to people now who work in customer service, and it's like, I know it's a drag and stuff, but I tell them, like, Vulcan was just, there were so many just amazing people. And from the, like, dorky cinephiles to, like, just some people coming in to rent Jumanji or whatever. People were nice and lovely. And, yeah, it's a thing that hopefully will be remembered because it was a really special place. Okay, I think that's good. All right, Lars, I hope you're good. Take care, man. Be safe.